it's well understood, I think, by a lot of people that I represent now that the promise of the American economy is not working for them. And that's because in this country we're seeing lower mobility rates and we're seeing higher income inequality rates. And we've seen that now for decades. For 50 years, all of the income growth, for half a century, all of the income growth has gone to the top earners in our country and to nobody else. The bottom 90%, think about that, that's everybody. That's 9 out of 10 Americans since 1970 have been completely flat in their income, and they have lagged the rest of the industrialized world. For the first time in the United States in our history, over 50% of children now stand to earn less income than their parents did. Now, Donald Trump might look at that and say, well, this has been a problem for a long time. Why are you blaming me? And my answer to that is because if you set out to write a set of policies more opposite what the American people need to solve this problem, you couldn't do a better job than passing the legislation and putting the tariffs on that Donald Trump has done. Instead of dealing with the income inequality that we have, they passed a tax bill that exacerbated that income inequality. It reminds me, my kids have this, used to anyway, they're now older, this game called Opposite Day that allowed them to eat pancakes for dinner and wear their pajamas to school. That's what this tax bill feels like to me. If you want to do exactly the opposite thing, you pass a bill that gave the wealthiest people more money and the people at the lower level less. And finally, the increased consumer prices that people are having to face at a moment when their incomes are flat because of his policies are also crippling working people. And I think it's clear to me, and I think to our caucus, that the measure for how our economy is doing is not how well the stock market is doing. The question of how our economy is doing is whether working people can afford housing, health care, higher education, and daycare. And the answer to that in my state and across the United States is no. We should be working to make it easier for families to afford these important things rather than harder.